to Canada, which of course is having its own election. Voting is beginning today in an election which has been overshadowed by frequent interventions from President Donald Trump. Our North America correspondent Carrington Clark is in the Canadian capital, Ottawa, for us this morning. Carrington, for people who haven't been following this, I mean, this has been quite extraordinary. It looked as though the governing Liberals would be voted out for sure, and there's been a huge turnaround in the polls. What have you been hearing from voters?
Yeah, it's been quite an extraordinary race. As you say, towards the end of last year, it appeared that the then Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who had been in power for more than 9 years, was headed to a devastating defeat here in Canada. It seemed that the mood was for change, and the Conservatives had really tapped into a well of discontent, particularly around issues like cost of living, immigration and housing. They may sound familiar because there are many echoes of what's occurring in Australia happening here in Canada. But the big game changer was the return of Donald Trump to the American presidency, and what appeared at first to be trolling of the northern neighbour, these constant comments about Canada should become America's 51st state, and that it should, and that the military ties, if that didn't occur, should be revisited. But the problem was, for people who thought that perhaps it was just a joke or an attempt to troll other world leaders, Donald Trump was willing to economically punish Canada in terms of tariffs on the country, particularly on some of its key industries. And so what we then saw was Justin Trudeau. He exited stage right and was replaced by central banker Mark Carney. He'd headed the central bank both here in Canada and in the United Kingdom, very well-credentialed economist, and he has made his key message to the Canadian people that he is the man best equipped to deal with economic uncertainty because of Donald Trump and to stand up to him. And that's put the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, in a very awkward position. He had campaigned on very similar themes to Donald Trump's. Many people had accused him of being Donald Trump light, and he's now had to walk this political tightrope, not wanting to upset some of his Conservative base by trying to position himself too far away from some of those Conservative ideals, but not wanting to be too closely affiliated with Donald Trump. When I spoke to some voters here in Ottawa a little earlier, it was very clear that despite him not being on the ballot, Donald Trump looms large.
It's important to have a leader that's not going to back down. We don't want to be the 51st state. None of us want that. And I feel like Carney is the right person to do it. He's got the economic background and he has the experience.
I honestly thought that the Conservatives were going to win, but, you know, Trump talking about like the 51st state, you know, and the tariffs on Canada, it's totally like changed everything.
The big issue for me was who is going to be the most constructive and successful with Trump issues and tariffs. So I voted Liberal because I think right now we need an economist.
Now, although you would prefer to be the Liberal leader, the Prime Minister Mark Carney, heading into this race today, according to the polls, it's still considered to be a tight election. And given the influence of some of the smaller parties here in Canada, it still cannot be certain that Mark Carney will win this election. But if he does, I think he'll be able to you'll be able to place the blame, depending on the Conservatives, or the praise and thanks at Donald Trump's door, because he has had such an oversized influence on this particular race, and the Conservatives will be particularly irritated by the fact that Donald Trump again took to social media today to hammer that case that Canada should become the 51st state.